Well. No, literally, well. As basically we've seen Echo1 come back. But what do they have in store for us? We might as well find out with this week's episode. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode on Airsoft Master. And today we're going to be talking about is the collaboration with Echo1 and World Pro Airsoft manufacturer with these new two innovations that are out in front of me. Right in front of me I have is the P15 CQB AEG, and I also have is the P9 variant, which is a 9mm. But these both have the same very common new setups of the innovation of the new idea from Echo1. So why don't we get started with it with the actual review. But before we do that, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you're trying to look out for these items on the website, check us out at airsoftmaster.com. But let's go ahead and start off with the review. So what do we know about Echo1? What we know for sure is they're located locally in Southern California out here. As an airsoft company, what we know is a couple bangers from what we've seen on their BTS rifles, their Mark 18 copies, and of course, the Echo1 Troy, as I would have. But airsoft has become higher on its standards. We would expect more, especially in 2024 for the AEGs. We would expect a lot more from even just a beginner gun. But does this actually hold up? Surprisingly, it does. As one thing we know, as we do have, is our outer barrels with a 14mm counterclockwise threading and the federally mandated tip on both of these. And you've got to be more modern by having the M-LOK rail segments. So again, super lightweight. We do see these as, specifically the P9, has a very awfully familiar type of style rail system with the Picatinny rail on top. Yet I wonder what it would be. Either way, what's nice about both of these is you still have an M-LOK rail segments to put any type of attachments that you would want on there, such as a foregrip, light laser systems, a combo, and then you still have somewhat of a monolithic Picatinny rail on the top end for more real estate. But they won't leave you hanging, as what we've seen on here is you still have a low profile sight, front and rear, and still flippable to change it to be taller for you to do better acquisitions. So again, it's really nice on that setup. Now, when it comes to making things more reasonable on the pricing and as well to that what we've seen on these rifles, we're going to expect to see these become more of the polymer receiver, which is, again, nothing wrong with it. Still very reinforced, still basically enough to take any type of beating out there in the field, yet lightweight enough for any of my younger guys out there to go play airsoft and start off in beginner to hold it and yet still able to aim down sight. Again, it's a really nice setup. Now for licensing and trademarks, one thing is I will give credit to is Echo1 having their actual setup of your serial number out here, and at the same time the brand marketing out there to keep it nice and simple. You still have your model number, your serial number, and of course the actual brand of the company, Echo1. Again, nice little touches. It's really sweet and simple. That's all you would need when it comes to an AEG. But here is where things get interesting when it comes to the internals. The internals is more improved, where I'm gonna have to pull out the list on my phone to give you what's the new update on Echo1's new gearbox. So let's get into the details of what's inside the gearbox. So one thing that we know for sure that with both of these M4 rifles, we do have is a version 2 gearbox. The bushing size is 8mm bushings, so that does help out with the gear sets in preventing from like typical ball bearings to possibly fail and then be a whole disaster after that. Again, nice little compliment for Echo1 by keeping it bushings. We also have is a polycarbonate 14 rack steel piston, and we also have the polycarbonate piston head that's inside to help out with the compression, alongside to help pull with the spring, which is the M100, to keep it more CQB length friendly. But it doesn't stop there. Now for Echo1, a lot of more other companies are following through with their own ETU system. The same thing can be applied to Echo1 on these new rifles such as the P15 and the P9. Specifically, a programmable ETU system which can be followed on the manual instructions on their website. Specifically, what would happen is when you want to program either binary, semi, burst, or full auto and still the features would come from basically programming through the trigger and the certain vibrations and sounds or pulses that you'll feel from the motor to correspond with that. Overall, that is a pretty good setup to start off with these rifles. And again, an ETU is now the new innovation and features out there that we've seen with even with these beginner guns to make it more reliable, and the fact that you can use now LiPo batteries, which comes in handy when it comes to speed and as well to that your RPS. To help complement the internals, I do like how when you do reveal on the dust cover is your rotary style hop-up that's inside. But what makes it more interesting is Echo1 did provide a 602 brass inner barrel alongside with the rotary hop-up. And again, a tighter grouping, which is now becoming the new standard, and even I would say better, as a lot of people would be more 603. Well, of course, to make it up one by having it be 602. Again, good job, Echo1. Now, I do have to give credit to Echo1 as they kept the stock very minimalistic to keep it everything nice and slim. You still have your standard 6-positional type of buffer tube to able to adjust to your length to help out with the stock. And again, it is a very stable yet slim enough to help cheek in and aim down properly. At the same time, when it comes to storage compartment, you do able to have the buffer tube to hold an 11.1 thousand milliamp LiPo battery inside the buffer tube with the perfect connection that we all love and dearly is Dean's. And good job for Echo1 by keeping it Dean's on these guys. You know we can't really make this a typical Airsoft Master video is when we check for magazine compatibility. Now, surprisingly with the Echo1, it did pass on the P15, the M4 magazines out that we usually sell, which is the EPM1s, the EPMs, and the Spectre R mid-cap magazines. For the P9 though, we did have some interesting results in between the two type of PCC type of magazines we do carry is the Spectre Arms mid-cap, and alongside is the ARP9. Unfortunately, with the results that we've seen more often on the G&G is it wouldn't actually lock in and it would just fall on out of the receiver of the P9 for the Echo1. But for the Spectre Arms mid-cap, it was able to feed through as long as you hold the bottom of the magazine out. So it's somewhat of a 50-50 chance on there. I'm using 0.20 gram BBs and 11.1 LiPo battery. Starting off with is the Echo1 P9. And now for the Echo1 P15. So when you do purchase your Echo1 P15 or the P9, it does come with the following items such as the Tamiya to Dean's adapter, the speed loader, and alongside the mid-cap magazine to correlate to either one of the models that you do have here. It is a good refreshing thing to see for Echo1 to come with these new innovations and to start up again on their new ideal setups. And I do have to give credit to them with their new ETUs, the new MOSFETs that are out there for these guys that make it more programmable and more demanding to what a typical airsoft player for an AEG would want. Again, we do have is the polymer setup that's more reliable, more well structured on these guys. These have the new innovation on the ETUs. Again, they did help out with their own more structural type of gearboxes out there where it's more rugged in that aspect. And as well to that, everything that's on here for this will make it today's modern airsoft rifle. But what do you guys think about it? And don't forget to drop a comment below on what do you guys think about the P15 and the P9. Other than that, check us out for these products at airsoftmaster.com. But for this episode, my name's Mike. I'll see you guys next time.
This video is brought to you by Airsoft Master.